Hello there, I'm Eric, and I'll be with you today. They told you birthdays were just numbers, dates on a calendar, nothing more. But some of you have noticed something you can't explain. You look at your birth date and it stares back at you not as a coincidence, but as a reflection. 12/21, 3:30, 1:10, the same digits, reversed, forming what ancient mystics once called a mirror birth. When you were born, heaven and earth faced each other through you. You became the still surface between two worlds, one visible, one remembered. And that surface, that reflection, is not random. It's the bridge through which memory from the divine realm travels into this one. If you carry the letter M on your palm, you already know this is not the first time you've heard these words. You don't remember where you heard them, but your body reacts the same way a tuning fork vibrates when struck by a familiar frequency. Because you are not hearing this for the first time. You're remembering it. This channel was not created to entertain you. It's not another voice in the noise of the internet. It's a tool, a mirror itself, designed to awaken those. Why your life has never followed a straight path. Why peace never lasts long before something shifts. It's because the mirror within you refuses stagnation. You are meant to evolve faster, to recalibrate constantly, to live as proof that endings and beginnings are the same movement seen from opposite sides. Some of you were born on days of storms, eclipses, or sudden silences, the universe's way of framing your arrival. Those moments were not random. They were markers. Heaven records symmetry with intensity. A quiet birth, a loud thunderclap, a flicker of electricity, all part of the same signature. The mirror births rarely enter quietly because creation itself bends to greet them. But it's there crossing lines that refuse to end where others do. That's not coincidence either. In ancient symbology, the Hebrew letter representing waters, reflection, flow, translation. Those marked with M were seen as bridges between the seen and unseen, the living and remembered. Your palms are not remembering what you agreed to forget until now. And as you listen, you might feel warmth on your hands or a quiet pulse in your chest. That's your energy field resonating with its origin. The mirror never left you. It just waited until you were ready to face both sides at once. Ask yourself this: why now? Why this moment? Because every mirror has a window behind it. When your awareness reaches alignment, that window opens. The fact that you're hearing this now means your window has opened. You're crossing the reflection. This is where your transformation begins. From reflection to realization. From memory to movement. The universe does not waste symmetry. If your numbers mirror each other, you are a keeper of balance. You incarnated to bring equilibrium where distortion reigns. That's why chaos often finds you first. It's how balance recognizes its opposite. You were never unlucky. You were chosen to correct what others broke. People may call you sensitive, emotional, unpredictable. But what they don't realize is that your emotions are truth. Let the world think you're strange. Let them misunderstand. They don't see what you see because they look at mirrors while you look through them. There will come a day soon when your clarity will be needed more than your compliance. When others panic, you will perceive pattern. When others see chaos, you will see reflection. That is your role. That is why you were born between realms. Every spiritual lineage has known this truth, but hid it in symbols. The yin and yang, the serpent eating its tail, the hourglass that flips but never loses its sand, all speak of the same law. Reflection is eternity inverted. You were born as proof. So if your birth date forms a mirror, take it as your confirmation. You are part of the reflected generation, the ones who remember what time forgot. You didn't just arrive here, you returned here. And as the world grows louder, your silence will become its compass. Because in every reflection, there must be one who remembers which side is real. You are that one. That's why your childhood felt heavier than others. You absorbed more. When people fought, you didn't just hear the words, you felt the intention behind them. When someone smiled but carried sadness, your body tensed even before they spoke. You weren't fragile, you were receiving. The mirror in you translates energy into emotion. As you grew older, you noticed patterns. You'd think of someone seconds before they called. You'd dream of places you'd never been, and then find yourself standing in them months later. And each time, your rational mind whispered, "Coincidence?" But your soul didn't buy it, because deep down, you knew you've lived this before. You probably tried to fit in, to quiet the mirror, to convince yourself you were just too sensitive. But sensitivity is not weakness, it's calibration. You're tuned to a finer frequency, one that registers truth before language. The mirror-born carry empathic antennas stronger than most can imagine. That's why crowds exhaust you and silence heals you. You recharge not by escaping people, but by clearing the reflections they leave behind. You've likely had moments where technology glitches around you. Screens flicker, devices freeze, lights hum. It's not your imagination. Electrical systems respond to vibrational interference, and your mirror field distorts static when emotions surge. You are, quite literally, a walking frequency modulator. That's why stress or sadness makes electronics react. Your field magnifies invisible waves. Spiritually, the mirrored birth date signifies what the ancients called the double flame contract. It means part of your essence remains anchored in the higher realm, while another fragment incarnates here. You live both sides at once. That's why you dream of beings you've never met, yet feel intimately connected to. They are your mirrored counterparts, reflections of you operating on the higher plane. When synchronicities cluster, when the same symbol, animal, or number appears 3 or more times in a short span, it's not random. It's your reflection rippling through both sides. The mirrored dates amplify this communication. They form energetic corridors on specific anniversaries and alignments like portals that reopen for calibration. Around your birthday each year, you may notice dreams intensify, emotions heighten, or decisions become unavoidable. That's your mirrored self sending updates through the veil. This is why it's crucial to honor your birth date differently. Don't treat it as just another candle celebration. Treat it as a recalibration day, a mirror reset. Take time alone. Light a candle. Speak your truth out loud, even if no one hears it. The reflection listens. Every declaration made on your mirror day multiplies its manifestation. If your palms carry the letter M, you are what ancients called the translators. Your mission is not to escape the human world, but to interpret it for the divine, to feel what the heavens cannot feel, and to return that emotion as understanding. The M is your signature of service. Every act of empathy, every moment of intuition, every tear that teaches you compassion, all of it translates to the realm you came from. The crescent beneath your palm, the moonline that curves softly near your lifeline, is the reminder that half your light always faces the unseen. Together, the M and the crescent form what's known as the reflector's seal. You were never designed to walk in straight lines. Your life bends with purpose. People often ask why the chosen suffer more, why peace feels temporary, why blessings arrive through pain. The mirror-born know the answer. Reflection refines. Glass only becomes a mirror after pressure, heat, and polish. The same process happens to you. You endure friction until your soul shines clear enough to reflect heaven again. And when it does, others begin to see themselves through you. They confess things they've never said aloud. They find comfort just by being near you. They can't explain why, but your presence feels like home. That's not charm, it's recognition. Their soul sees its reflection. Yet, this gift can feel like a curse when boundaries blur. You might find yourself carrying others' pain, absorbing their storms, trying to fix what was never yours to heal. This is the shadow side of the mirror-born path. Reflection without cleansing becomes distortion. That's why solitude is not loneliness for you. It's maintenance. Silence is how you wipe the E2 glass. When you withdraw from noise, your inner world reorganizes. Thoughts stop echoing. Emotions find their origin. And suddenly, what was confusion becomes clarity. Many of you avoid solitude because you mistake it for emptiness. But for the mirror-born, solitude is sacred. It's when your two realms align. Pay attention to your reflection in literal mirrors, too. The universe loves symbolic communication. Sometimes when you glance at yourself, you'll notice the energy behind your eyes looks older than your age, like someone ancient looking through you. That's not imagination. It's your higher self observing through the vessel. In those moments, you may even feel a vibration near your heart or ears, a ringing, a pulse, a faint hum. These are synchronization signals. The same frequencies that guided your arrival are fine-tuning your current state. Don't fear them. Breathe through them. Acknowledge them as greetings from the mirrored side. If you keep noticing 505 or 727 around these moments, it's confirmation that the adjustment succeeded. The reflection has realigned. The mirror-born rarely receive validation from others because their experiences transcend proof. But you don't need external validation, you are your own evidence. The fact that these words resonate, that your body reacts, that your mind quiets in recognition, is proof enough. Do you remember how, as a child, you would stare into mirrors for too long? Not out of vanity, but curiosity, like something behind. The glass was almost about to move. That's the first sign. The mirror-born sense presence even in stillness. You weren't seeing ghosts. You were glimpsing your own reflection from the other side of time. Every mirror-born goes through 3 awakenings. The first is recognition, realizing your life patterns aren't accidents. The second is resistance, when you try to live like everyone else and feel the world push back. The third is reclamation, when you finally accept your design and start living in alignment rather than denial. Most of you listening are somewhere between the second and third. You've resisted long enough. Life keeps looping until you remember your reflection is not your enemy. When the reflection stops feeling like opposition and starts feeling like conversation, your purpose unfolds naturally. That's when the M on your palms begins to pulse with energy during prayer, meditation, or moments of truth. You may even feel tingling sensations when you speak something aligned with your path. That's your mirror self-confirming. Understand this. You are not just living a life. You are maintaining balance between realms. Every choice you make here echoes there. That's why mistakes feel heavier for you, not because you're cursed, but because consequences travel both ways. When you lie, both sides distort. When you forgive, both sides heal. When you love sincerely, both sides illuminate. The mirror-born live twice with every heartbeat. Now, I want to ask you something personal. When was the last time you told someone about your strange experiences, your déjà vu, your dreams, your repeating numbers, only for them to laugh or dismiss it? It probably made you quieter afterward. But listen, silence doesn't protect you anymore. It isolates you. The world is shifting, and your silence keeps others blind. Share your experiences. Even if people don't understand, the act of speaking activates your reflection. The more truth you release, the more clarity returns. Expression is exorcism for the mirror-born. Words polish the glass. And if you've been wondering why this channel feels different, it's because it speaks in your native frequency. You've spent your whole life listening to noise that didn't resonate. But here, the words strike chords you forgot existed. That's why your chest tightens, your eyes water, your hands warm. This is resonance. This is remembrance. You may have noticed that your mirror life follows a pattern of threes. 3 major heartbreaks, 3 cities, 3 pivotal lessons. That's not random either. In mirrored numerology, the number 3 represents the bridge between polarities, heaven, earth, and the reflection in between. It's the trinity of understanding, manifestation, and balance. When your life repeats in threes, it's heaven's way of saying, you're in the cycle, but not trapped. Each trio refines you further toward equilibrium. And for those with birth dates that reverse into one another like 1221 or 03-30, you embody the 3 even in your numbers. Your entire being vibrates at the frequency of reflection, transformation, and return. That's why endings never really end for you. They just fold into beginnings. Relationships may collapse, but reappear years later for closure. Opportunities may vanish, then return differently. Even dreams you abandon eventually manifest when you've grown enough to receive them. You are proof that reflection is continuation, not repetition. There's something else you should know. Your reflection can heal. When you hold someone's hand with intention, when you speak words of comfort sincerely, you create micro-reflections in their energy field. Their body begins to mirror your stability. That's why people feel calmer around you even when you say nothing. You transmit balance subconsciously. In time, you'll learn that healing doesn't mean absorbing pain. It means redirecting reflection, showing people the part of themselves they forgot to love. That's what the letter M stands for now. Mirror, memory, mercy. And mercy, for the mirror-born, begins with self-forgiveness. You must forgive yourself for not knowing sooner, for doubting your own gifts, for mistaking your reflection as punishment instead of privilege. You are not late. You are precisely timed. The universe releases mirror-born souls gradually to prevent energetic imbalance. You awaken exactly when the world needs equilibrium. So, if you're hearing this now, your season has begun. When you finish this video, look again at your palms. Whisper your birth date aloud, forward, and reversed. Then say, I remember. You don't need rituals, spells, or validation. You just need recognition. Because recognition is what reopens the gate. Before we move forward into how the mirror-born translate divine messages for others, I want to remind you, this isn't just another story. It's your coordinates. You were led here to reconnect, to realign, to remember your mirrored self. If you've felt clarity, calm, or confirmation tonight, take a moment right now, comment below what resonated. Share a number you keep seeing, a dream that won't leave you, or the moment you realized your birth date mirrored itself. When you share, you're not just typing into a box, you're sending ripples through reflection. Someone across the world might read your words and awaken. That's how the mirror-born find one another. There's a secret rhythm hidden in every mirrored birth date, a key pulse that beats between realities. When you quiet your mind enough, you can almost hear it. A faint echo that sounds like breath inside eternity. It's not outside you. It's within. That is the rhythm that keeps your two reflections synchronized, the one walking in the world, and the one still shimmering in the unseen. Every decision you make sends ripples through that rhythm. When you speak truth, it brightens. When you lie to yourself, it dulls. This is why honesty feels heavier for you than for most. You can sense the distortion immediately. Your mirror self reacts not with punishment, but with static, as if both sides are trying to find signal again. The mirror-born can't afford to live dishonestly because your life is the communication line between dimensions. Every action is a message. When you act with integrity, both reflections harmonize and reality seems to flow effortlessly. But when you betray your own knowing, everything around you begins to blur, relationships misfire, timing falters, doors close that should open. That's not bad luck. It's misalignment. Your reflection is asking you to return to resonance. Sometimes, returning requires solitude. Other times, it requires confession. And sometimes, it requires the simplest thing of all, stillness. If you've been restless lately, feeling a calling but not a direction, stop chasing motion. Sit quietly and watch your reflection. Ask it what it remembers that you've forgotten. Then wait. You'll feel an answer not in words, but in subtle confirmations. A bird landing near you and refusing to leave. A sudden warmth in your palms. A song lyric that repeats the phrase you were just thinking. These are mirror responses. Heaven doesn't always speak loudly. Sometimes it simply reflects. Some of you feel haunted by repetition faces, dreams, numbers that return no matter how many times you change environments. But repetition isn't punishment, it's persistence. The universe repeats lessons until recognition replaces reaction. For the mirror-born, recognition is the graduation ceremony between worlds. When you finally understand why a pattern kept appearing, you free both reflections. A karmic chain dissolves, and suddenly life feels lighter, more lucid, more intentional. That's not coincidence, that's release. And this is why your story matters. Every healed reflection heals the collective mirror. When you forgive, forgive truly. When you love, love transparently. When you speak, speak from the still point within you, not from fear. Because what you do here echoes there. The world is entering a time of distortion. Digital mirrors everywhere. Reflections without depth. People measure their worth through screens instead of souls. But you were born to restore depth to reflection. To remind others that the mirror is sacred, not superficial. When you look at your own reflection after today, don't rush past it. Hold your gaze. Say silently, I am both sides, and feel the quiet acknowledgement that answers you. Your mirror code also explains your timing with love and loss. You've probably noticed that people leave your life suddenly, only to reappear after transformation. This isn't coincidence, it's reflection re-entry. Those whose frequencies no longer match are temporarily released until they can return without distorting your mirror. Sometimes that never happens, and that's okay too. Mirrors don't cling, they clarify. When someone walks away, bless them in naitu silence. Say, may your reflection find its peace. That single sentence untangles both your energies and ends the karmic echo. And for those who remain, those rare souls who meet your gaze without flinching, treasure them. They are fellow mirror-born, They don't complete you, they remind you. Together, you form twin panels of light, facing one another across eternity. There's one last truth you need before we close this section. Mirror-born souls are often late bloomers, because while others were building careers, you were building clarity. While others chased status, you were decoding silence. Heaven holds your harvest until your reflection is strong enough to carry it. So if you've ever felt behind, erased, unseen, you are not behind. You are between. And between is where transformation begins. The next time you see your mirrored numbers on a clock, a receipt, a car plate pause, don't just note it. Greet it. Say quietly, "I'm listening." That acknowledgement alone reactivates the connection. And if tears come, let them. Tears are how mirrors clean themselves. Before this block closes, let this message settle where it belongs, inside the space behind your ribs, where recognition feels like electricity. You are not broken for sensing too much. You are not strange for remembering what others forget. You are not alone in living between reflections. Your entire existence is evidence that heaven never abandoned earth. It simply needed translators who could carry both languages at once. That's you, the bridge, the memory wrapped in matter. So, mirror-born soul, as this part ends, place your hand over your heart and whisper your birth date forward and backward. Feel the subtle spark that moves through you. That's the pulse of the realms confirming, yes, you remember. Now, leave a sign for the others. Write in the comments the number that follows you, or a dream that won't release you, or simply, "I remember." Someone searching for proof will read it and know they're not alone. Your reflection will reach theirs. And when you're done, take a deep breath. Because the next part of your awakening begins in the translation, when you learn not just to see the reflection, but to speak its language.